What's up, everybody? It is Cam Han, the Fantasy Man, coming at you with a Week 12 recap. I am coming home tomorrow, as you all know, and yeah, very excited for it. Let's get into our itinerary. I did change one thing. It's highlighted here, people. It is highlighted, but let's just start off Wednesday at around 8 p.m. ish. We're actually not going out of town anymore. We're going over to one of Caitlin's friends' house for a big party. So I know none of you will go, or nor do any of you want to go other than Dylan. But just if you ever do want to go, you just let me know. We're going to a party at 8 p.m. at Caitlin's friend's house. It's going to be pretty fun. Thanksgiving is Thursday, of course. Later on, we're playing games at Caitlin's house if anyone would like to come to that. Saturday, I have Los Rios as a question mark. If anyone, I haven't talked to anyone specifically about this, but maybe, maybe if you guys want to go Los Rios on Saturday. I'll text you about it individually, I'm sure. And afterwards, maybe we could play Secret Hitler. I don't know, maybe. And then Sunday, I changed it from 12 to 11 a.m. for football. Okay. And this is a good idea because I want to watch 1 o'clock games. I want to be there at 1 o'clock. I got a big matchup with Tyler. So I would love to play at 11. I will again text you all guys individually, but I think 11 a.m. is the better time to play. Also, I know I talked to Dylan about this. I would love to really go to Summits this Sunday, guys. We don't have to. I know. I get it. I get why you all stop going to Summit so often. If I lived in Cumming, I probably would stop going very often too. It's very expensive. But I don't know. I think I just haven't been in a while. I really like Summit's food. And I just want to hang out at Summits. Maybe we could go at halftime. We could go over to Doug's. I don't know. Doug and Greg and Tyler's. I want to throw that out there. I would love to go to Summits, but of course, open to other ideas. And again, I get why other people don't always want to go, but I think once in a while would be fun. So I hope we can do that. But let's get. No, we're not getting into it. So I kind of put together our teams, assuming all these people are coming. I'm going to have to confirm with everybody, but I think most of these people come. I put together our teams based on our Madden rankings. This is based on the video I did last year where I gave everybody a Madden ranking. So the first pick was Riley. I think these are very fair teams. Second pick was Hunter at an 82 overall. That's the ranking I gave Hunter and Riley and everybody last year in last year's Madden ranking video. I thought this was just a really even way to pick teams. Third pick would be Will. Fourth pick, Doug. Fifth pick, Greg. Sixth pick, Cameron. Seventh pick, Dylan. And then eighth pick, Andrew. I think those are really fair teams. And then these are four people who might come that are potential free agents. So we don't have to use these teams, but I think these are good teams. And then if there's potential free agents, then we could pick up our teams could draft as opposed to just doing a whole new draft. I don't know. I just thought it was fun putting together what based on what would be even teams based on the Madden rankings. And I actually do think these teams are pretty even. And then again, these are the potential free agents. I don't think Bobby will be in town. Tyler will be. My cousin Joe could play maybe. I'm going to text Eric as well. So those are kind of the two teams right there based on the Madden rankings. But let's get into it. Worst injury luck. And again, 11 o'clock, guys. 11 o'clock. I'm going to text everyone individually again. But worst injury luck, Hunter. Drake London and Marvin Harrison. Absolutely tough week for Hunter. Most unlucky, though, I will give to Will. It was a pretty big matchup for him. Now, he is still in the playoffs, so there is an argument to be made that Hunter is most unlucky. But Hunter didn't put up any points, really. I know it's because of the injuries, and then he got pretty unlucky with Jonathan Taylor. But Will lost with 120 points, and he lost to Dylan's team, who just kind of popped off. I'm sure Will was expecting to win that matchup. But Dylan's team, put up like 138, and Will had a decent showing. 120 is not bad, but he still lost. So I'm giving it to Will for most unlucky. Of course, I got to give it to me for most lucky. It was an absurdly lucky week for me. I put up like 93 points and still won in an absolutely must win against Hunter. So that's the difference between me and Bobby is that when I'm lucky, I admit it. I'm like, guys, dude, I'm getting lucky this year, boys. It's also the difference between me and Doug. Doug can't admit when he's been lucky. I can. Bobby can't admit it. They have to fight it. I'm like, guys, I've been so lucky this year, and I want more luck. I want more. So let's keep that riding. Dumbest move, Cameron, playing Montgomery over Tyrone Tracy. That was a really dumb move. I didn't believe in Tyrone Tracy, even though it was said that Jameis Winston would be the starter. There was really no reason to think Tyrone Tracy wouldn't be good again. And there are a lot of reasons to think Montgomery wouldn't be good. That's dumbest move on my part. Smartest move, Dylan. The Dyke play. I don't even know that guy's first name, but his last name's Dyke. Jacoby Myers was a good play, good pickup and play by Dill. And then also he had a very good Saints defense play, very risky. I think they played the Falcons and it paid off. So 3 very smart moves by Dill. Best free agent move was me, Emmanuel Wilson. Now I know I had already picked him up weeks prior, but I went through the pickups this week and nobody had a good pickup. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give myself credit for just having Emmanuel Wilson on my roster. I knew that Josh Jacobs would get hurt eventually. And hey, he put up 26 points. He basically won me the week. So I think I deserve that best free agent move, even though I didn't pick him up this week. But nobody had a good free agent pickup, so it was either this or nothing. Best player, Doug, 185-point masterclass. I mean, Doug popped off. He shut up the haters. He really shut up the haters, like Preston, who thought Jahmyr Gibbs was now bad. Doug showed the receipts. Preston says it was a joke, but who knows? But Doug, absolute masterclass. Good job, Doug. Worst player was Hunter, 78 points by default. I mean, there wasn't a ton he could do, and he got very unlucky. But hey, he put up 78 points. You got to give him worst player. Season segments. Now, this is actually one of I don't have a lot of dabs or dubs this week. I don't know if it's because I'm falling off or if you guys are getting less dab worthy. I don't know what's going on out here, but not a ton of dabs, not a ton of dubs. So I did dive into my bag of historic dabs that I've been keeping. Most of them are against Doug, so I just decided to go in on Doug this week with historic dabs. First and foremost, and this really disappointed me. Greg for being softer than Charmin and complaining about me throwing him under the bus because I quoted his complaint about Matt's trade talk. 2 dabs. It should be more. It should be much more than that. 2 dabs only. Greg, I expected more from Greg. If I'm being honest with you, you can see in the message below. It would be nice if Cameron didn't throw me under the bus every time I complained about trade talk. It's like, come on, Greg. It's like, God forbid Matt knows that people think he's kind of crazy when he's talking trade. It's like, that's what dabs is. That's what dabs is people sort of getting thrown on the bus. Matt's not got no sweat, isn't bringing a sweat over it. Like, should I? Am I throwing Hunter or am I throwing Hunter under the bus when I give you all dabs for not bringing back Bob's pressure washer? Am I throwing Will under the bus when he texts me and gives dabs? Whatever. Like, I have the dabs. It all hinges on, I guess you could say, throwing people under the bus, but that's just soft, Greg. And that's just soft. That really bummed me out that Greg, well, it'd be nice if Cameron didn't throw me under the bus by saying that I think Matt is a little crazy on trades. It's like everyone thinks that. Matt knows everyone thinks it. It's just crazy. It's crazy talk, Greg. Like, and look, I'm the next dabs. I'm sorry, Greg. I might be throwing Greg under the bus here, but Doug for not doing his push-ups, 5 dabs. Greg told me that they're doing kind of a little bit of, I don't know if you'd consider it a competition, but I think Greg, Tyler, and Doug are all supposed to do 100 push-ups a day. And if they don't, they put like $5 in a jar. And I think I'm going to make these numbers up, but it was like out of 50 days, like Doug hasn't done it 20 of the times. I could look up the specific numbers. Let me see what Greg texts me. Again, sorry, Greg, if I'm throwing you under the bus here. I mean, you wouldn't want Doug to know that you think he deserves dabs because of push-ups. All right, let's see what Greg said. Lots of trade talks. Okay, so Greg, again, sorry for throwing you under the bus here, Greg. So I mentioned to you that me, Tyler, and Doug are doing a 30-day push-up challenge, 100 push-ups per day. Pretty easy to get done. I agree, Greg. That is pretty easy to get done. If you miss a day, it's $5 in the house jar. Today is day 30, and Doug has only completed 10 days. I mean, that's hilarious. Like 100 push-ups is not like, Doug, just crank out 100 push-ups, dude. Like, that's just so funny. So what's he cost himself? Like, I mean, my goodness, he's cost himself a good amount of money. I don't know if that's dab worthy, he said, but he's going to have to pay $100 just for not doing push-ups. I mean, again, yes, it is that is dabs, and I'm sorry, I'm throwing Doug under the, or I'm throwing, maybe I'm throwing Doug under the bus too. I'm throwing Greg under the bus. I'm just every week I'm throwing everybody on their bus, but that is funny. The push-ups thing. I mean, that's hilarious. That out of 30 days, Doug has only done 10, and he's just paying money, dude. That's hilarious. Doug for processing only his trade early in Dynasty, not the other two trades that were made when he knows he would be so against in redraft 10 dabs. This is gonna get Preston heated. Is Doug has the power to speed track, what's the word, fast track trades in Dynasty, so like he can just send a trade through. And of course Doug makes a Dynasty trade with me, the only trade he's made all, like, probably in his whole fantasy career. And what does Doug do? He types in the chat, hey, is it okay if I just push this one through? And it's like, what the heck, Doug? Like, we all know you'd be totally against Hunter pushing any redraft trades through. And then also, I made 3 trades that week. Did Doug offer to push through the other 2 trades that didn't involve him? No, he didn't. He was just like, "Oh, can I push mine through?" 10 dabs. It's brutal dabs right there. Doug for texting me 20 and then the dollar sign instead of $20, instead of dollar sign 20, one dab. The correct way, Doug, and look, I'm giving you only one dab because this took me a few mistakes to learn as well. And this is why I know this just wasn't just a one-off mistake, is because I've been this guy before, Doug, that I thought it was, because it makes sense, 20 then dollar sign, $20. But no, Doug, it's dollar sign and then a 20. One dab. Doug for being a complete non-factor in trade talks. Now, I understand how that might sound hypocritical because Doug did make a trade with me in Dynasty, but I actually put this down a few weeks ago because, like, Doug, I mean, Doug is a complete non-factor in trade talks. Is anyone talking redraft trades with Doug? Is anybody, like, I understand Doug obviously has a sick team, but like, the fact that, and I'm not saying even Doug should make a trade. I'm just saying he should at least be involved in some trade talks, but he's just a complete non-factor. Doug for making us keep kickers for one more year in Dynasty, 5 dabs. Again, these are all historic dabs um, because I didn't have that many dabs for this week, quite frankly. But essentially, we all voted to get rid of kickers. And for whatever reason, Doug, I guess, decided, or it was in the rules that Doug wrote or something, that, hey, even though we all voted to get rid of kickers, we have to keep kickers throughout this year of Dynasty, and then we can get rid of them the next year. The reasoning behind that given by Doug was, well, some people like drafted based on the fact that they knew they would have a kicker, or they built their team because they knew, like, in this, it's like, no, Doug, like, nobody cares about the kickers. If we could all vote for it, everybody would vote to get rid of the kickers. And maybe we did. I don't even remember. But the point is, we should have just gotten rid of kickers this year. It was crazy. And this is, and again, I'm not to throw Doug under the bus here, like Greg is accusing me of. I'm sorry, Doug, if I'm throwing you under the bus. Don't, I'm sorry. But this was brutal. Doug for picking Cedric to win Survivor. Now, this was not this current season of Survivor, but the previous season of Survivor. Doug picked Cedric to win. He's pictured right here to the right, dude with glasses. And as Tyler and Greg can attest, Cedric was the worst Survivor player I have ever seen in my life. He was the least athletic guy I've ever seen in my life. He was the weakest guy I've ever seen in life. He was the worst strategy guy I've ever seen in my life. Tyler and Greg, who are connoisseurs, they'll remember a time where Cedric voted to kick somebody out and then was in tribal council convinced by that person he voted to kick out to keep her, and then he kept her and she ended up voting him out because she was like, well, Cedric tried to vote me out, he's gone. This was an abysmal pick by Doug, and if any of you have seen Survivor or that season of Survivor, you would understand. It would be like picking Ash's team. It would be like if we were picking teams right now who we thought were going to win the championship, and Doug picked Emery / Ash's team. You'd be like, that is the worst choice ever. Hunter and Bobby for being afraid of boating, not once getting on the boat in Utica, 9 dabs. Again, this goes back to the summer when we went to Utica. And something weird about the Saturday brothers is they, I think, are afraid of boating. They both did get on the boat one time while I was there to go where we took the boat to a restaurant. But other than that, they never once got on the boat. This is a lake house, people. Like everybody's going out on the lake. We're all like me and Greg and Doug and Dylan. Like we're all going out to go wakeboarding and tubing or whatever, like multiple times a day. And every time you'd ask Hunter or Bobby, you'd be like, "Hey, do you guys want to go hit the boat? Like, you guys want to get on the boat? Like, you guys want to go? You wouldn't even have to go wakeboarding. You're like, hey, you guys want to go to the island? Like you could ride the boat to the island. You want to go to the clay mines. You want to go on the boat to do this, to that. Never once did either of them ever say yes to getting on that boat, other than the one time we went to dinner. I can only assume that they are afraid of boating. This might not hit home for all of you, but the people that were there, they get it. And I would say for Matt, a good example would be like if Hunter and if we all came up to Utah to go skiing and Hunter and Bobby never went skiing. They just were in the house the whole day, hanging out around. And you were like, "Hey, Hunter, Bobby, you guys want to go on the mountain? Like, you guys want to go, like, go look at the view? You want to go skiing? You want to go snowboarding?" And they were just like, "No, I'm good. Like, I'm gonna stay here and play a board game." It was pretty weird. Broker for being so out of the limelight that Preston sends me recent pictures of him because nobody knows what he looks like anymore. Um, 7 dabs. This comes essentially from over the summer where Preston, I guess, had found a picture of Cameron Broker, like a more recent picture, and he sent it to me. He's like, "Hey, look, like this is what Cameron Broker looks like. I haven't seen him in like 8 years." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, like crazy. Like it's crazy that I haven't even seen a picture of Cameron Broker in 8 years." And I think that just kind of points to like just how I think out of the limelight, maybe. I mean, it's not the best, but I think you get what I'm saying. It's like I'm not sitting there. Like if Preston sent me a picture of Tyler, he'd be like, "Oh, look at Tyler." I'd be like, "Yeah, dude. Like, what's the big deal? I saw Tyler like a month ago." Or like, "Hey, here's a picture of Emery." It's like, "Oh, that's fine. I saw Emery." Like, what do you mean? I saw Emery a year ago. Like, or oh, I've seen a picture of Emery recent. Like, I see him online. I've seen Emery in person a year ago. It's like Cameron Broker. It's like seeing like a picture of him is like getting a picture of like a spotted leopard in the wild. It's like it's noteworthy, which is dabs by Broker. Broker for having his profile pic be JCM. 2 dabs. I don't know why his profile picture is JCM. He's been terrible this year. And Broker's not even a Commanders fan. Matt for thinking he is in trade prison and people aren't trading with him for any other reason than he offers bad trades. 8 dabs. When looking for this message from Greg, I was reading back at some of the messages of Matt complaining about how people view him in the league. And Matt will text me stuff like this here and there, where Matt kind of insinuates that, man, like nobody will trade with me because I'm a trade rapist. He's like, nobody, like they all think, everybody just thinks I'm a trade rapist, so nobody's gonna trade with me. It's like, no, like people do think you're a trade rapist, but that's not why people aren't trading with you. People talk trades with you. It's just you have a tough, I mean, in all reality, you just have a hard team to trade with because it's very top heavy, but they just don't like the trades that you're offering, or you don't like the trades they're offering. Doesn't have anything to do with any labels that have been put on you. It's all just about people not liking the trade options. And I can relate a little bit because a few years ago I was viewed as a trade rapist, and Doug would always say nobody trade with Cameron, nobody trade with Cameron. But then Doug would be the first guy to text me about a trade. He's like, "Hey, you want to make a trade?" So it's like people will put the label on you, but that doesn't mean they won't try to trade with you. It's just labels. But Doug with 32 dabs, most of that is from historic dabs. So to be fair, Dubs, Hunter and Haley for having a very successful first meeting of the parents. 8 dubs on Saturday, and this is 7 dubs here. Hunter and Haley for dating for 1 year. On Saturday, Haley and Hunter's 1 year anniversary. The Saradays, Monica and Bob, met Haley's parents, and I think we all expected that to go well, of course, but you never know. It's a little nerve wracking when your parents meet. So I just wanted to give a big shout out because Hunter told me it went very well. So That's all dubs all around for them too, and the Saturdays and the McDonald's all together. So yeah, Will for going remote Mondays and Fridays, 3 dubs. I heard that Will didn't want. I heard that Will was talking trash about remote work. He was like, "I don't ever want to go remote. I love going into the office." That's what I was told. But then apparently he did accept a kind of an offer to go remote Mondays and Fridays. Congratulations, Will. That's sick. You now have super long weekends. You're going to enjoy that a lot. Doug, Greg, and Tyler, you can see a picture here for setting up their basement with a sick projector. It looks like it's really coming together. Doug's done a lot of great work on it. 6 dubs. He's put up a lot of pictures. So they got like a pretty sick setup. Uh, Ignore Doug's feet in that photo. Sorry about that. Doug, Broker, and Bobby for clinching playoffs. That's awesome. 9 dubs. When you look at their names on the leaderboards, you see a little green dot next to them, meaning they've clinched, which is sick. And then Doug for only having led the league in dabs once this year, and it was a relatively fraudulent once. This is the first time Doug has led or has gotten the most dabs in a week. Most of that, it's not really because Doug's not doing dab worthy stuff. It's just you guys are all out dabbing him on a week to week basis. But that's a huge win for Doug that he has only won one time this whole season. League standings, you see where it's at. Doug number 1, Broker fell from 2. Um, Bobby makes a huge shot up. Bobby is going to be, as you'll see, the most improved or stock rising. I stay the same, even though I keep winning. My points are terrible. Tyler's down. You see how it goes. Emery goes 1 down. Dylan actually makes a jump up 2 spots, so good for him. Preston ruined the segment on who's winning the trades because he's made too many trades. Stock rising. Dylan, okay, yeah, because I actually gave Bobby stock rising last week, so I'm giving it to Dylan this week. He's not the worst player anymore. Dropped 130 this week, and some of his trades are starting to pay off. Dylan does not have the worst team anymore. I respect what he's done. Hunter stock falling. I had Hunter with a question mark last week. I would say officially his stock is falling. There's a JT regression going on right now. He's been losing a lot lately. And also injuries could be impacting his team negatively. So I think that's an easy stock falling for Hunter. Next week's marquee matchup, though, is Matt versus Hunter. 2 guys whose teams are flopping. They're both of their teams are just flopping right now. Injuries too, and they're both fighting for playoffs. This could be a major factor in who gets to the playoffs. This could be a must-win for either of them. I don't know if both of them will be able to make it. This is a huge matchup. Whoever wins it, I do believe will probably be making the playoffs, but I don't think both of them can win. So potential must win. Awesome matchup. Awesome matchup. Most annoying is Greg for saying I threw him under the bus. I'm just going to keep bringing that up because that was just crazy, Greg. It's like I expected more from Greg. It's like, oh no, like Matt thinks I'm bad at or Matt thinks that I think he's bad at talking trade. Oh no, Cameron threw me under the bus. Crazy. Who had that dog is Doug. I mean, absolutely popped off this week. He dunked on Preston for saying Gibbs was no good anymore. And he also stayed humble. Even though he dunked on Preston, he did it in a very humble way. I don't think Doug reverse jinxed either, which is a huge win for Doug. He's hopefully learning. So yeah, a big dog from Doug for staying humble, not reverse jinxing, and just popping off. Here you go. You see what that is. Doug earns his 3rd dog. Uh, quite quite the year for Doug in many ways. He has 5 most annoyings, 3 dogs, 4 bests. It's an interesting year. Random rankings. Okay, first we have who's gone soft. Like we were talking about how Greg has gone soft. I felt the need to kind of give a little bit of a softness ranking here. I do think Matt is number 1 soft. He's gotten offended in the chat a few times for sure. He claimed that we bullied Ash, which is soft. And he's also very upset about being called a trade rapist. That's really gotten to his head. I think that is a little soft. What's going on there with Matt? Greg. I mean, Greg. I'm very disappointed in Greg. I would not have had him at the top tier of softness at the beginning of the year, but the videos have been rattling him, and he would admit that. He's told me in person. He said, "Cameron, these videos are rattling me." I'm sure he's rattled right now as I'm talking. It's a wake up call. He's been also getting rattled about stuff that's not even about him, like when he got rattled about me giving Doug dabs for not taking the penalty shot or something like that, or I gave Hunter not that, whatever it was. He's been getting rattled, like third person rattled for Doug. So I think that's pretty soft. And also, he said I threw him under the bus, which was just crazy soft. Dylan has me on the Dylan right now. He has me on edge on what I can say in these videos. I will say, and I'm not even going to say any more about it because that's how soft Dylan's gotten. That I'm kind of afraid to say anything. But Dylan's just no. Dylan has me on edge. I broke these up into tiers. So the first three, I consider this the tier of people who, like, currently I'm afraid right now to even say they've gone soft because it's going to upset them, and that's how soft they've become. Is those top three is kind of that segment. This middle section here is more just like kind of medium softness. Like they get rattled every once in a while, but not very consistently. Like Doug, uh, he always has gotten very rattled by things posted in the videos. I mean, he Doug also very easily rattled, very easy to make upset, but not as much as the top three guys up there. Preston, I mean, God forbid somebody criticizes his trade talks or his athletic ability. If you criticize either two of those things, like Preston is like white knuckling when Matt talks negative about Preston's trade ability. Like that's pretty soft, but that's kind of a soft spot for Preston is his trade talks and his athletic ability. Will does get rattled by Dabs very often, which is soft, but most of the time it's all in good fun. And then he also gets rattled about very small things like JJ McCarthy. When we brought up JJ McCarthy last week, I'm sure when he watched my intro, he was losing his mind. I'm sure he probably turned the video off after he watched that intro. So that's very soft by Will, but most of the time it's all in good fun. And then this bottom tier, no, it's people who don't get really rattled. I have a lot of respect for Broker because he doesn't ever get upset. Neither does Tyler or Bobby. Honestly, Bobby could be 10 because you can say some pretty crazy stuff about Bobby and it doesn't hurt his feelings, as I will in this next segment. So, respect to the bottom four here. I kept off me and Emery. I don't really know why I kept off Emery, but I don't even know why I kept myself off. But anyway, um, yeah. Okay. So, here is the next segment. It's going to be a little bit of a long one. It's going to take a decent amount of explaining. I need to get in a better seated position here. Okay. But this is how we're going to go. All right. So, who would Leah's mom hate the most as a son in law? Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, most of you do know this, but Preston has a wife named Leah. Okay. Um, Leah, they met in high school. Leah went to high school with us. Again, I'm talking to like the likes of Bobby and Matt, really, who don't know this already. Um, and this is going to be hard for me to talk about because I'm going to have to really do it in a non-offensive way. But um, so Preston and Leah are married. Leah has a mother, obviously, and she, I guess, again, I don't know her, so this is not really coming from me. This is just really more coming from Preston and Leah. That she's a little bit unhinged sometimes. It's been well known for a while that she's not a huge fan of Preston's. So Preston's mother-in-law, not a huge fan of him, right? And this segment idea came up when I was talking to Preston the other day, Preston and Leah, and I was like, "Well, who do you think?" I think Preston and Leah were talking about, whatever. Oh, like maybe complaining about Leah's mom a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, well, who do you think out of the people we know, who do we think your mom would like, Leah?" And I think Leah and Preston were both like, she would not like anybody. She's not going to like anybody. And I was like, well, what about Riley, our friend Riley? Because Riley is a religious fella. And I was like, she would probably like Riley, tall, not a bad looking guy, not nice enough. And also he's got the religious aspect, which I think she'd really appreciate. And Preston and Leah were both like, no, they were like, she would hate Riley. She would hate Riley because religious um his religious views would be threatening to her. They were like she would hate Riley even more than anybody because like she doesn't want to be questioned on her theology or whatever. And so that got me thinking. I was like, man, Leah, I need you to do a ranking on who your mom would like the most as a son-in-law. And she was like, well, she wouldn't like anybody, but she's like, I will do it for you. So this is just some things that I wrote down here. I wrote these criteria for her to maybe almost like you as a son-in-law. You have to have a very specific set of political views. It's not, no, it's like you can't just be a Republican. You can't just be a Democrat, whatever. It's like you have to be a certain sect of that. You know what I mean? It's like just like the religious thing. It's like you have to have a very specific set of religious views. It's not that like you have to agree with her very specific perspective on religion, or else you are worse than anybody. Same with politics. I'm assuming it's like, hey, like if you could vote for the same party as her, but like if you think like we should have a different tax rate, it's like you're worse than anybody. This is the vibe I've gotten from conversations. She also has a big thing about money. She's you have to have the potential to make at least like $1 million a year in the future. That's I'm making that number up, but she's very much so like, if you don't make like six figures right now, and if you're not going to be a multimillionaire, then I hate you, is the vibe I get. Again, don't know her, but this is what Preston and Leah tell me. Have to be well. You have to be a man's man for her. You have to be over 6 foot, big, strong, in good shape guy. But you can't be overly masculine. You can't be too masculine. She's the type that maybe if you're a little bit, if maybe like you enjoy watching Dancing with the Stars, she's questioning your sexuality. Maybe you enjoy watching A Walk to Remember. It's like, oh, really? Like you're not a man if you like watching The Notebook. You know what I'm saying? So that's also a thing. And then there's also a lot of other random stuff. But yeah, let's hop into it. I feel like I've given a really good background here. I did this in segments here. It's kind of tiers. So the first tier is she would secretly hate you. Okay. So this, she wouldn't outwardly, I guess, specifically talk badly to you or to your face, but secretly she would hate you. And this is the top tier, people. This is the absolute top tier. So Dylan, Leah, and these are all Leah's words here. I did add some of my own words, but these are Leah's words. So about her own mother. So Dylan, she has Dylan as her mom's ideal son-in-law out of this group. Leah says, personable. Dylan's personable. I remember him going to a concert with the mom of the girlfriend he dated in high school. So he'd earn major brownie points if he was cool enough to hang out with. Plus, he has lumberjack energy. She's referring to he's big, he has the long hair, but she would inevitably call him not masculine enough since he's not really the outdoorsy type. And this is, I added this, and again, I feel like I can talk on this. I feel like Leo would agree here. Also, while he does make good money, I do think she would have a problem with his job because Dylan, which I don't think Leah realizes this, works for Forsyth County. I'm assuming that she thinks Forsyth County is evil and an evil place. So I do think she would have a problem with Dylan's job. So that's that. Again, while being a bigger, stronger, kind of lumberjacky type guy, eventually the fact that he's not outdoorsy or handy or can't like fix a car might is gonna lead to a secret hate. Okay. Preston, which is actually funny. He has the preferred career path for her mom. He's good politically. They agree a lot politically, but Preston's too confrontational. He doesn't read enough and he isn't intellectual enough for her, which is hilarious to say. Doesn't read enough as a, when I read that initially, I laughed. Again, Leah sent this in. Doesn't read enough is so funny. And the fact that Leah's saying that Preston's not intellectual enough for her mom is pretty hilarious, given that Preston is currently the son-in-law of this woman. Cameron, number 3, I'll take it. Better job now, but past career would count against him a lot. I don't know what that means, and I will follow up with Leah about this. My past career as a salesperson for a year and working with the elderly, it's like she. So basically, Leah's saying she would like my job is good and it's politically aligned with her, so she would like that. But I guess my previous life as a salesman slash old person activities guy is really bad, and this is really funny. I think it's very true. Plus, I'm not confrontational enough to where she'd say, "What? You're just going to let me walk all over you?" Also, and I added this part. Also, Leah said she would be upset about the fact that I didn't leave my job over recent political controversy. At the current job I work at, there was a big political controversy, and apparently she would lose all respect for me because I didn't leave my job over that controversy. But I do think it is true. I think it's very true and very funny that what you're just going to let me walk all over you because. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. I tell Preston all the time when he talks about this stuff, it's hard for me to put myself in his position. Maybe I would be more confrontational if I had to deal with some of the stuff that he's explained to me he has to deal with. But who's to say? Emery, skilled in trade, biggest positive of anyone. I guess, like I said, it seems like she likes a real man's man. Like she wants you to be able to, fix her garbage disposal. You know what I'm saying? So Emery is a very skilled tradesman, but she would eventually turn that around in a few years and say that he won't be a millionaire, which honestly, I believe that's how she feels. But I mean, plenty of millionaire tradesmen out there, I think, if you start your own business. But so that's how she views Emery there. And now we are on to she would openly hate. So we go from she would secretly hate to she would openly hate. She would say it to your face. Hunter, very personable, but almost too much, so that she would question the genuine nature of it, thereby making her doubtful of him overall. That is, there you go. Also, she mentioned this. Hunter lives with, or she didn't mention this about Hunter, but she mentions it later. Hunter lives with his parents, which would be a major, according to Leah, a major thing that she would not stand for. Riley, I put Riley in here. Religious points, meaning they, are both Christian, but this would ultimately make her threatened when someone could theologically spar with her. Plus, in the inventor slash small business owner thing would turn into a point of ridicule rather than admiration. Okay, so that's good for Riley. Matt. And Leah doesn't know Matt, but from what we've told her, opposing political views, it seems like we don't really know what's going on over there with Matt, but opposing political views is a non starter for her. Also, and I added this part because Leah mentioned it when we were talking in person. Also, I think Matt works in the corporate world, which is one of the most evil professions one can have, according to her, apparently. So I think Matt has like just probably a run of the mill corporate job, and working for a corporation is like in her mind evil, I guess. Will, basically the same as Matt, but Matt is a bigger guy, so that gives him the edge over Will. Apparently, Leah said to me about Preston, she said one of the only good or one of the only one of the only good things that Leah's mom likes about Preston is that he's tall, basically, is the fact that he's tall. So the fact that Mac is taller than Will, I think gives him the edge there. And then this is openly hating continued. Doug, working for Apple is a major strike. She'd end up accusing him of being controlled, aka working for evil money. Whatever that means, I don't know. Cameron Broker, potentially likable due to his job and more quiet personality, but living at home would be a non-starter. So there you go. That's her opinion there. And then now we go into the category, and Preston actually made these categories. She would currently be planning to kill. Preston, maybe Leah, really feels as if any of these people were trying to marry Leah or Leah's sister, that she would be currently planning an assassination on this person. And Preston could dive deeper into it. He could make the argument, but he thinks that she's that unhinged that if any of these people tried to marry Leah, they would, like, her mom would be planning to assassinate them. Logan, way too confrontational. Plus, while his engineering degree has the potential to save him, forfeiting it all to follow his heart in Colorado would be something he could never recover from in her eyes. So the fact that he left his, engineering job to go be a ski dude in Colorado, never could recover. Greg and Tyler, this is kind of a funny one. She would hate the Facebook Marketplace thing. I guess she just hates Facebook and Facebook Marketplace. This is a direct quote from Leah. Posting anything on Facebook Marketplace and trying to make money is a major strike. I don't know what her beef with Facebook Marketplace is, but that is pretty funny. Also, the fact I added this part, also the fact that they live in a home with multiple other guys is a big strike against them as well, because like she views that as like not masculine, and I don't really know, but I just feel like that is the case. Andrew, no explanation needed at all. That's where she put Andrew, and then lastly Bobby. And Bobby, I will give you a little bit of a pref or I I'll say this is that Leah's only really experience with you was, again, it's going to come down to the wedding, okay? And apparently she got, with the sleeping thing, she got very much like a drug and alcohol vibe from you, Bobby. And so that is kind of feeding into her view of you. And maybe that's not who you are. I don't think it is, Bobby. But that's where that's coming from. So I guess having a drug and alcohol thing is a major down fall for Leah's mother. And also his military, I don't know what this means, but his military service would actually end up being a "you're not a patriot because you won't go against your orders" type of deal. I'm assuming, I don't know what that means. I don't know what she means by that. But when she's told me it before, and I don't know what it means, but that is what it is. Leah did actually have another kind of interesting ranking, but I don't have time. I'm not going to get into it right now. I'll do it next video maybe. But yeah, so she would secretly hate. She would openly hate. She would currently be planning to kill. So those are those rankings. Pretty interesting stuff, if you ask me. But that was a long video because of those rankings and some of my rambling. But just take a look at my Thanksgiving itinerary again. 11 a.m. football on Sunday is the most important. And yeah, I can't wait to see you guys there. Have a good week. Oof, that was a long one. Oh, it's still recording.